Hey there, this is for the replay people, because I know nobody's here yet, right? It's just us, Eric. There's a little bit of delay. So replay people, this is Eric joining me. And you're gonna love Eric. We're gonna start. Hope.
Hi.
What am I? I'm hearing myself. Hold on.
I hear you.
Hold on. I know what it is. I have another screen open. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so we're gonna let everybody else get in, but replay people, there should be a link in the group where we're going to just continue our discussion in the group. So you're going to want to follow that. Okay. For everybody else who's watching us live, hello. It's Sandy. And this is another part of my blog series. Since we're going through our month of blogging. As you're coming in, just say hello, say hi, say hello. Because we like to know that there are people here with us chatting, ready to go. I see that we have viewers coming in. And I'm excited for this conversation today, Eric.
I am excited for this, Andy. Thanks for having me here. I'm excited. I'm always excited. Hanging out with you.
Can I just say, are we like the odd couple or what?
But like we always have fun.
I know, but we're like a joke. A Jamaican and a Jew walk into a bar.
Like only good, like well, we're gonna have managed jerk chicken.
That's right. Everything's gonna be kosher and it's gonna be inappropriate. All right. So for those of you who are here, I see everybody saying hello, hi. Sherry-Ann, hey, thanks for joining us. With me today is my friend Eric Rosenberg, who is just awesome sauce. I just love Eric. I've known Eric for how long have we known each other? Has it been since Denver or before Denver?
Was yours number 2?
Really? Okay. So it's been like how many years? 7 years?
7 years since FinCon 1, I think.
Then 6 years. So Eric and I have known each other for a good amount of time. What?
For half a decade.
I have known you before you had a wife and kids, and before I had a husband and a kid. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And we are very much like the odd couple. Eric and I, whenever we see each other, it is just, I don't know, we always have just a fun time with each other. Just a good time. I don't know. Good conversation, good food, good laugh, just good stuff. But we are definitely like the odd couple together if you ever see us together.
We were just supposed to hang out.
It's a good thing though, right? So tell everybody who you are, because I'm always excited to chat with you, but they might not know who you are and what you do. And we could just sit here and babble all day, you and I, having a conversation like we haven't seen each other. And it's been a while, a year and change, because I didn't go to FinCon last year.
Oh, it made me sad that we missed you, but we knew it was for a good reason. Yes, welcoming a handsome little gentleman into the world. And
Cheyenne says you're a little low, Eric.
I'm a little low. Should I crank it up? Let's see how I sound. Is
you
that better?
Good to me, but to them,
I don't want to be too peaky. How's that? Is that good?
You were good to me. You guys tell me if Eric is still low. But yeah, tell us who you are, because I'm not going to do justice introducing you for sure.
So I will. I'll start in the beginning in 1985. No, I'm just kidding. I won't go back. So my name is Eric Rosenberg. I have been a personal finance blogger since 2008. I'm coming up on 10 years.
That's a long time, Eric.
It'll be 10 years, which makes me a dinosaur in blogger years, I think.
Yeah, Grandpa blogger over here.
Back in 2006 was my very first one, and it is no longer there. Don't try to find it. It was embarrassing. But so I've been blogging a long time. I've been podcasting for about 3 years, I think now, 2.5 years. My podcast is called Personal Profitability. I have another new one with a mutual friend of ours, Whitney Hansen. It's called Oh No We Didn't, where we talk about things, essentially everything you're not allowed to talk about at your grandma's dinner table.
Can I make you pronounce it right? Oh no, we didn't. Thank you.
We talk about money, religion, and politics, mostly money. But
all the things that you're not supposed to talk about, but makes for a good conversation with Eric.
The big taboos. So we have fun with that. And that one's totally free. Both my podcasts are free. My website's free. I just love all this stuff. I've been trying to help people with money. I've been building my own businesses. I actually just closed a business, a side hustle I'd been running for years called Denver Flash Mob.
I love that.
I put up a
That,
video yesterday. If you go to my Twitter, Eric Profits, you'll find it there. It was just like a recap of all of the awesomeness of 7 years of Denver Flash Mob. I actually started around the time we met doing that.
yeah, I remember that because I thought it was great. You know why we connected so well? Because you were like the Jewish Jamaican. You had like 3 jobs. You were like flash mobbing, you were a DJ, you were a blogger, and you were like had like the finance thing that you did in the daytime as your day job. And I was like, he's got like the same amount of jobs as I do.
And I like Red Stripe.
And you like Red Stripe. We can never go wrong with Red Stripe.
Red beer from Jamaica.
So why are we talking to you today, Eric? You're in the group.
So I side hustled to full time. That's my big claim to fame online. It started as a little side hustle. I never really thought I was going to leave my job when I registered this little fledgling blog called narrowbridgeadventures.blogspot.com because I didn't know anything about online marketing yet. Tip number 1, your website should end in your whatever thing .com, .net, probably .com. I got eric.money because I could, and I got eric.business, but I don't really do much with those. But really, you just want yourself.com. Like, don't be
snag them all up.
Or .wordpress.com. Get your own .com.
Yeah.
So I eventually did that. That became Personal Profitability eventually. What I didn't realize was when I was writing this blog along the way, I joined some amazing communities. One that I met Sandy through is called the Akazi, which is it's still out there and around. It's not as busy as it once was, but it was a great place when we were starting out as personal finance bloggers to connect and find out there were other people doing what we were doing. There were only about 100 of us way in the beginning.
Yeah, there wasn't that many.
But when we started, there were probably about 100 personal finance bloggers. Now, I don't know, at a 0 or so.
I think we've created a monster, though, Eric. I think it's our fault.
Yeah, but I didn't realize when I was doing this blog that I was writing my resume for a new career path. And I thought I was going to be, the bee's knees next big thing like Pat Flynn. And I've known Pat for a long time. Shout out to Pat. His site is amazing. If you've never been to Smart Passive Income, it is like one of my favorite resource things. I mean, there's just so much there. It's amazing.
I'm dropping that in the comments because if you don't know who Pat Flynn is, get your life and get to know Pat because he's going to make you want to quit your job and build an awesome blog.
Yeah, check out his, like, for your commute, check out his podcast and mine. I got to promote myself right now. Check out all the podcasts, but check out Pat's podcast. It is really good. His blog is really good. The only problem with reading Pat's blog is every time I finish a post, I feel like I have like 10 hours of work to do.
Yes. You feel so inadequate and you're like, I've got to step my game up. What the heck?
It's great. But,
damn it, Pat.
So I thought that was the path I was going to be on with like, a gazillion followers and all this traffic. And Google had other plans for my website that didn't involve so much traffic. So I've made a bunch of shifts throughout the years and my referral traffic has gone up. That's traffic coming from everywhere that is not Google, essentially. Google doesn't love my site that much, but I realized you have to focus on what works in your business. And being a guy with 2 finance degrees, I've been a senior financial analyst. I called myself a reluctant accountant because at one point I was a senior general accountant, but I'd gotten a job as a financial analyst. So they made me an accountant. It's like, hey, I didn't want to be an accountant. I wanted to be a financial analyst. And you made
it's not
me
as sexy when you're an accountant.
But I was a senior accountant for a while. I like that being sexy. I thought that was nerdy.
It is nerdy, but I don't know. But it's not. I picture like suit and tie and pocket protector, and that you're not that kind of guy.
Yeah, accountants don't do that anymore. Come on, give me a little credit. I was in a polo and khakis.
Exactly. That's more like you.
I look like a nerd minus the pocket protector. All right, I am a nerd. I love all of the Star shows, Star Wars, Star Trek. I don't discriminate.
Same here.
So I thought I was going to do this like Pat thing, and personal profitability has seen its level of success. I have an audience there, but I saw that my income from freelancing was far outpacing anything I was making on my own website. Thinking way back to the beginning, it all starts with the first dollar. That's something I always remind people: start, because if you don't start, you're not going to make anything.
Yep,
But
that first dollar is the hardest. And if you guys took my $500 challenge, it was just to break the ice, to get you guys making your first side hustle dollars. Because once you realize that you can make some money elsewhere, it feels much easier afterwards, right?
yeah. So, and I see Sue says that I was a little softing, and I'm going to try to talk really close.
No, you're good.
So what happened was, I remember the first time I made enough money online on my website. I was a sponsored post from a company in England, and I made enough money to buy a beer with what I
That's
made on my
great.
website. I was like, this is the best thing ever, man. Like, I'm
All
outside
you
of
had to
work.
do was publish an article, and it was there, and there's money in your PayPal, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Like, I had my laptop on my lap with some DVD from Netflix on because we didn't have streaming yet. And I typed in the post, and I got my $10 on PayPal. I was living the dream.
Hold on. Did you just say $10?
Yeah, this was way back when. $10. This was
That's okay. That's okay. Someone offered me, I think they offered me $700 to buy my site way back when. And I was like, oh, $700. I really thought about it for a couple of days. But anyway, go ahead.
yeah. So, I mean, now I don't do sponsored posts at all anymore. But if I did, $10 would not happen. My brand's worth too much. So to me, it's worth too much. So yeah, but then, it grew, and I started doing this freelancing, which a little of my I had some income pop because of Yakezzi, which was great because of learning how to treat my blog as more of an asset and a business and make some money with advertising. But you're just treating something professionally and like a business rather than like a hobby. That mental shift, I find, is huge.
It is.
Like, don't think about it as a game. If you want to make money, think about it as something to make you money, whatever your thing is. So for me, it was my blog. So the blog's growing. I remember in my mid-20s, it hit the point that I was making enough to cover my bar tabs every month.
At the time you were in Denver, so that was that's a pretty hefty tag, because Denver's got a lot of beer going on.
And it's cheaper than New York beer. But I was doing like the nightclub thing a lot on like
this was in the DJ era, right?
I started a DJ, actually, like right there on the floor is my box with my DJ mixer sitting out. So I became a DJ as a side hustle for a while. But I was going to these like boom, ba-doom, boom, boom kind of nightclubs and spending way too much money on like Heineken and Jaeger bombs because they made me feel European.
And Red Stripe.
Yes, Red Stripe to feel Jamaican. European, like nightclubs, that like I think of Europe when I think of that. It's like Heineken comes from the Netherlands, Red Bulls from Austria, and Jaegers from Germany. So I was like, let's do like the European clubbing thing. So when I could cover that tab every month with what I made online, I was like, I'm really getting somewhere. This is kind of
real, right?
And then it grew to my rent and then my mortgage when I bought a condo. So it wasn't always making a ton of money. It started small and grew over time. And that's something really important for people to understand, especially when you're new and you're starting out. Like, you go to Pat's website, Smart Passive Income, and it says at the top right, I made like
$125,000 last month.
Yeah, and you look at like another friend of ours, Michelle, from Making Sense of Sense.
$115,000 last month.
Or
don't ask me why I remember these numbers.
Or John Lee Dumas, Entrepreneur on Fire. It's a podcast.
Damn, I don't remember his number, but I listen to him every so often.
1,000, like he makes like once you're getting $200,000 a month, like
yeah, that's
doing something right. Do whatever JLD is doing.
Awesome. So Cheyenne wants to know what our prices would be if we were to sell our blogs. I don't know. I hadn't thought about it.
It probably more than someone would be willing to pay for me, because it's worth more to me emotionally than I could come up with a real number that I could justify to someone buying it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got so much content. I've built this presence on the web that now, before, when my blog was not so tied to me, when I was anonymous, it would have been easier to get rid of it. Now that it's tied to me, it's a little bit tougher. I don't know that I have a price, Cheyenne, but good question. You should always have a number, right? A ridiculous number in your head.
4 million.
4 million?
Then I don't have to ever work on anything ever again, and I will be happy.
The problem is, I live in New York, and the tax is just gonna, man, 4 million. Remember when people sold their blogs for $1 million? I would have jumped ship in a heartbeat if I had been one of those $1 million blogs.
More than that, some of them.
That's true. Some of them were more than that.
A couple friends in this world, they never gave us the real numbers, but
No, they didn't.
into the millions.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's back up a little bit. You're making club money. You're making beer money. You're making mortgage money. Where's that money coming from? How are you making this money?
Yeah, so at that point, most of my income was coming from ads on my blog, sponsored posts, and things like that.
So I know the next question people are going to ask is, where did those ads come from? Like, how were you getting ads?
Well, I'm going to give you the opposite answer of don't do that. Don't do what I did.
I would say the same thing too, which is kind of funny.
How Google hates my blog. That's probably why. I can't find any specific link or reason or something. I've gone back and tried to remove all that. Google still didn't give me the love. But you know what? I was getting love somewhere. And this is where I think the real key to success in my story is. So I was going to FinCon every year. That's where Sandy and I met. It's a big financial blogging conference. They make shirts that say "Money Nerds Unite."
Money Nerds Unite. That's my shirt. Sorry, go ahead.
The one from this year said FinCon y'all, because it was in Dallas. Which I should have grabbed you one. We can still get. We'll took it up. PT, let's find you and get, or Jessica,
an honorary shirt.
Come on,
for being a lifer.
Part of the family. Yeah, so I was going to this conference every year. I started getting really involved, and I find, like a lot of things in life, whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. And FinCon is a place that I committed and have put in a lot. I created a speaking event at FinCon called Ignite FinCon.
Love it.
Been going since that was probably the day, or I mean the time we met was FinCon in Denver is the first one.
Yeah.
So we did Ignite FinCon there. Ignite is like TED Talks on speed. They do them all around the world. But
like you have balls. That was my first one. I remember it.
Yeah. So she came in, did Write Like You Have Balls. That was the first ever Ignite FinCon talk. It's still an awesome one. But doing that and putting myself on stage every year helped kind of raise that recognition level in the community. And I kept trying to connect with people, network with people, and doing that started to get me noticed, not just by, normal blog readers out there. It started getting me noticed by companies that owned blogs. And I started talking to companies because of FinCon saying, we would like you to write for our blog. We like what you're doing at your site, and we'll pay you. Will you write for us? I was like, well, heck yeah, pay me. I'll write whatever the heck you want. This is great. Yep. I can make the money on evenings. I can make it on weekends. I can do it wherever, whenever I want, as long as I have a laptop. And it's based on my skills, my knowledge. My background, I have 2 finance degrees, both an undergrad and an MBA. I was a bank manager before I was a nerdy accountant. So I was a nerdy banker first. And but all those skills and experiences are something that were unique that I could offer that they needed. So there was the market, there was the service to deliver. And in the beginning, I write for a heck of a lot more now than I did in the beginning. In the beginning, I was happy to do a post for a $25, $35 range, often.
Ooh, $25. Can I tell you how I work for free for a very, very, very large tax site? I will not call their name, H&R Block. I wrote for free a number of articles because I was an idiot and wanted the exposure. And I would not probably do that again. Yeah, I just want to say that.
I do some stuff at, I've just set up a deal with a company that's paying me a lot less than my new average because of an exposure component from it, but I'm getting paid something.
Right.
I'm willing to work for a discount, but I'm not willing to work for free.
Yeah, don't work for free when they make millions of dollars. Don't.
And there was a point Huffington Post was really notorious for asking people to write for free.
Yep.
And the big thing on Twitter is you can't pay your rent with exposure. You can't buy food with exposure. You need dollars for that. Yeah. So I found companies, or companies found me, that were willing to pay me dollars to write for them.
So would you say that your blog was your resume on top of your credentials, basically, right?
If you're like the chicken and the egg, which came first? It's the blog. That's what came first. Because the blog is what made me an expert and showed this skill and refined this skill. Because I could always write decently well. I mean, I hated English class and writing classes until my junior year in high school, and senior year I had amazing English teachers. Before them, I hated it. Like everything about writing and English and reading and books, I was like I just didn't like it. And now I love it all because I found, just the right gateway for me into it, which for me with those two teachers just made it really enjoyable and relatable. And they're like, well, focus on the parts you're good at. And then I got a perfect score on the writing SAT 2. Remember SAT 2s? That was a thing for a while.
Yes, I do.
Not anymore. when they were a thing.
These kids get off so light these days, I swear.
But their life is just a giant standardized test too.
This is true. But you know what? There's some of us that are just good test takers. I feel like I would ace being a kid these days.
I was good at some. I always felt like I was decent at them. I guess I was good at this one because I had a perfect on it. And I did well in my writing classes in college. But I never thought I was going to be a writer. Like, no way. I was going to be, a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or something like that, right? That's why I went to business school and got an MBA, and I was on that path.
Sidebar. I remember being in junior high school, and I told my mom that I wanted to be a writer, and she was like, "That's not a real job. You need a real job. you're gonna go to healthcare.
Be a blogger."
Oh Lord! Even now, I don't tell my mom I blog. My sister's like, "Have you seen that she was in the New York Times?" And my mom's like, "For what?"
My parents are definitely into. They know what I do now. And like, my mom doesn't know how to listen to any podcast, so she has not listened to mine. But she gets my email newsletter, so that makes me. I love you, Mom.
That's good. Mom's always your first visitor on your site, right?
Except for blogs. It was funny. I actually talked about this as my Ignite talk last this FinCon when you were out making a baby or delivering a baby. Recently having had a baby where you had just had the baby, right?
Yes, I just had the baby.
Yeah. So you were home not sleeping with a newborn. I was up on stage saying, so here's what you all think bloggers really do all day. And here's what it's really like. And I had this joke in there I threw in of like coming out of the closet to your family as a blogger.
Mom, Dad, I'm a blogger.
It's kind of like that. Like, because in the beginning, we were all so anonymous about it. Like, it wasn't something. Like, you didn't even use your real name outside of Facebook back then.
I still don't really use my phone. Okay, moving along.
Use the name that we all know you by, like Jay right. Money.
That's right, exactly. You use a name. That's also a tip. If you're not going to blog with your real name, find a name that you use and love and be consistent with that name. And that could be your nom de plume, your nom de blog. Okay.
Yeah, it's like I know of at least a few personal finance bloggers who they have a name you would think is just like their name, and it's not really their name. So there's doing that too. I just was always Eric in the beginning. I
just didn't want to be people to Google and find my address because my name's too unique to. And I was working in finance at the time, and it was a big no-no to have a blog. Probably still is a no-no to have a personal finance blog working in investment banks. And I figured if I ever wanted to continue working in investment banks, I can't use my real name. But I'm out of that game now. So wait a minute. So here we are. You are now freelancing. Your blog was your resume. You're making decent money. How do you know what to charge? Because I feel like people are going to be like, you said you used to write for $25, $40, and you're making substantially more now. But how do you know how to kind of change the price?
Well, just keep charging more until someone says no is one strategy. And I have seen friends do that and like 10 times what they were making or more. And from $25 an article, I have at least 10 times to what I charge. I can say that. I won't say all my specific details, but so I charge, like I said, about at least 10 times the 25 that I started at. And I know
for math people who are challenged, Common Core math, that would be at least $250 an article. Okay, go ahead.
I don't really do anything under that anymore, but I didn't do that in the beginning. I don't look at it as paying my dues. Like when I worked in banking, there was definitely this pay your dues kind of attitude.
Yes, absolutely.
Stupid and crappy. Like, treat someone like a human being because that's what they are. And if they have great skills to bring to the table, that's why they have the job. And welcome. Like, it's not a fraternity. Even there, I was in a fraternity. We didn't haze because we made up a rule. Hazing doesn't make you a better friend with someone.
No, you just need to torture the next generation coming in because you've been tortured before. That's pretty much what it is.
Our rule was if two brothers wouldn't do it with them voluntarily, we would call it hazing. Because there's always that one crazy guy who's like,
Mhm.
"Sure, I'll do that." So we had to make a rule to protect from the crazy guy who would happily be hazed. But that doesn't matter because I wasn't in banking all that long. But
Cheyenne says, how do you feel about the YouTuber who tried to get the free hotel stay in exchange for a review? Asking because you talked about writing for exposure and it's kind of the other side of it.
yeah, so that is it's kind of a different situation from what I do normally, because at this point now I've left out part of the story. This is what I do full time now. So I can't make my living on a free hotel stay. However, I know a lot of travel bloggers. I went this last year and spoke at a conference called TBEX, or Travel Blogging Exchange. It's a travel blogger conference this year. They actually do 3 a year. But I went, it was in Huntsville, Alabama, and then got to go down to Montgomery after, which was awesome. I had a great time, like way better than I would have thought I would have had in Alabama. It was a lot of fun. Got to see rockets. Like, that was cool. You don't think of like space in Alabama, but Huntsville, that's where space is. I mean, I guess it's everywhere nowadays. Like, I mean, there's Tesla Roadsters in space, so the world's come along. But yeah, so at TBEX, I learned a lot about the exchange hotel stays for reviews thing.
Mhm.
And I think there's a good place for that. So what's cool about that is, let's say you're a travel blogger and that's your focus. You might get paid by some magazine or some, whatever blog you write for whatever publication to write your articles. But if you want to go out and do a little extra, because you just like to travel, it turns out are a lot of hotels willing to give free rooms to writers, assuming they'll get a review back. Where essentially there you're not getting exposure, you're giving them the exposure. So they're paying you with the free night stay. So that's kind of the way to look at the compensation.
Mhm.
If you're out in rural Iowa, sorry, Iowa, I love you. But let's say you're out in rural Iowa, that's not going to be worth that much, $50 to stay at a hotel. But if you're in Manhattan, that could be $300 a night. If you go to, or, even let's say somewhere like medium price, I don't know, like Phoenix, you go to Phoenix for 3 nights, that could be $300 to $600 in value. That, if you're going to go to Phoenix anyway and get a free hotel room out of it to write about it, I'd say that's worth it.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to that one.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of tough because even in personal finance space, we get that still. We have people who want to send you a book for a review, or they want you to try their app for a review, or they want you to, establish an account here and do a review, blah, 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 blah. And that's like a benefit in kind or a gift in kind or whatever. I don't do them. Reason number one is because I feel like the tax law is going to change very soon, where you're going to be taxed on the value of those things. I don't want to be taxed on the value of something that I don't necessarily want.
But the current people in charge are going to get rid of taxes on everything.
Well,
did I go there?
That's why my podcast. You know my political view, so whatever. So there's that, and kind of like what Eric says, if you're trying to go from blog to business, you don't have the space to do a lot of that if you still want to pay these things called like a mortgage or a car note, your student loans, eat. You just don't have the time to do that. And people don't recognize how many of those kinds of requests that you can get. I get them every day. I'm sure you get them every day, Eric. I don't have time to read your book to do a review for you. Almost it was going to read the book anyway, but even so, I don't do those.
Reviews, but I find I don't have enough time to read the books anymore.
Exactly.
I do those because I think books are a great resource for a lot of people, because it's a way you can learn a lot for a little price. So for my community, I think if I can recommend good with it, because I'm helping them. But I'm not going to do a book review for a client, because a client they're not going to pay me to do a book review. They want me to write about, although I do some reviews for clients. I write for one site, I'll give a shout out, Investor Junkie. They're a site for people who are into investing, stock
market.
Sidebar:
Larry pays you to write for him. I'm gonna have to. Larry lives like right near me. I'm gonna. Oh, Larry. Okay, go ahead.
He actually also spoke at the first Ignite FinCon.
Yes, he did.
So Larry is awesome, and his site is awesome. But they have so the way their site makes money, and the way a lot of sites make money, is through what's called affiliates. So let's say they write about a specific bank account if someone clicks through that link and signs up for that bank account, they might get a fee from it. And that's how a lot of websites make money. NerdWallet, and a lot of big finance websites make money.
But there's an exchange there where they're eventually getting some financial compensation in the form of, if there's somebody signs up, they're getting an affiliate compensation. In the other cases, in our cases, chances are that we're not, unless we voluntarily write a review for something that happens to be an affiliate, have an affiliate link where we can make money. So yeah.
Site, like if you're trying to build a site that's a similar style of site that makes money for through affiliates, he wants to have a site that is, has in-depth reviews on all the banks, and hopefully it'll work out that people will find all of those reviews and click on one of the banks he recommends that he has the relationship with. So he'll pay me to write reviews for his site on, investment companies and banks and things like that, because he ultimately makes money when people, use those links. And so in that case, the bank isn't paying, but who cares, because they're not the customer. But, if a bank just said, hey, write about us on your blog for free, we'll give you a high five. I'm like, oh, I mean, I've never used your bank. Why should I recommend it to people that listen to what I have to say? I only want to recommend things that I really believe in, and I've never used this, and you're not giving me incentive to use it. So
we're being asked, are affiliates the only way to monetize your blog? And to become an affiliate, is there a right or wrong way to go about making those connections?
Yeah, so monetizing your blog, there are lots of ways you can monetize your blog. Affiliates is one of them. For me, I monetized it by my blog becoming a platform for people to find my freelance services, which that was what led me to leave my job it was April 2016. Like any good dad with a 6-month-old baby at home, and my wife was a stay-at-home mom, I quit my job, sold my house, and moved somewhere more expensive.
And can you tell them how much you make as a freelancer a month, if you mind sharing?
Yeah, so I do income reports. If anyone ever wants to go at personalprofitability.com, you can see all of them to the beginning of 2012. But I've made, so that month when I quit my job, I was making around 4,000-ish per month online. And I realized if I can do this in 10 to 20 hours a week, imagine what I could do in 40 or more hours a week. And it took a few months to get my groove. I can tell the story about how I did that if you'd like to. But
we want to know how much you're making. Get to the money.
I gotta build up to it, right? You can't just
oh my gosh, Eric.
Letting the firework go off. Yeah. So over the next 3 months, my income grew to over 10,000 a month. My
10,000.
Yes, my first over 10,000 month, I was about 12,000 ish. My best ever was 16, and my average, I'd say, is probably about 11.
Yeah, you've been doing pretty well, because I stalk your income reports. So Eric is making that not as an affiliate. So his main monetization is actually freelancing. So affiliates, that's not the only way to monetize. However, we did mention 3 really big people earlier, people who are making a lot of money earlier, as we were chatting. The main way that they're making money is through affiliates. Yes. Affiliate marketing just has the ability for you to partner with so many different brands, so many different companies, and just get paid so much money. You can get paid anything from a couple of pennies, 10 cents, $1 to a couple $100, $1,300, as we spoke about with Michelle the other day, as an affiliate. One affiliate that she's an affiliate for pays $1,300 for every sign up. So you have the ability to make a lot of money marketing for affiliates. But as Eric said, that's not the only way. There are a number of different ways that you can get to the money from your blog.
Yeah, so I'd say the 2 easiest ways to make money from your blog, and when I say easy, I mean you put something up on your blog and it just makes you money, are affiliates and click ads, which click ads are like Google AdSense, or there's a few, media.net. I think there's a couple others. And affiliates, there's a couple big companies that are networks you can go through.
Yep.
It actually happens that 2 of the biggest in the world are headquartered about a 40-minute drive from me in Santa Barbara.
Lucky.
That's, Commission Junction and Impact Radius. If you
Wait, why did I not know Impact Radius? I thought you were going to say Share Link or Link.
There's a big
Oh
one.
my God, Rakuten.
Rakuten. I don't know how you
I
say
never say their name.
That's you have a tough thing marketing to Americans when they can't pronounce the name of your business.
So I'm gonna share the links here. So CJ, why is it telling me to sign in? I'm signed in.
So CJ is, I'd say, it's my favorite, and it's one of the biggest, and it's my favorite because I tried another one that we didn't mention just now, and I watched someone sign up with my link in front of me, and I didn't get credit.
Wow.
So I stopped using them, and I told them about it, and they told me I was a liar and I didn't do it wrong, and I'm like, I build websites for money. I did it right. I promise. So when you blame me for your link not working, I won't use your network anymore. That's what happened there. But CJ, it seems to work pretty well for me. And it also connects you with a massive number of potential companies.
Yes.
That all sorts of things. So, for me and Sandy doing personal finance and entrepreneurship stuff, we can find companies on there in that industry to link to. And then if people go through our links, like I have Lending Club as an affiliate. If you go through my link to Lending Club, I'll get $25. Pretty cool deal. But let's say you blog about makeup and beauty. No one's going to go to your blog to learn about the stock market and sign up for an account at a bank or something like that, because like, who's going to trust a beauty blogger with that? Not that they don't know what they're doing there, but that's just not what they
talk about
there as their expertise.
Right.
But probably could find. I'll just make up companies that I know that do makeup, which are very few because I'm a man. Sephora, Maybelline, I don't know. Like you look for those types of companies, and you can link to their stuff because that's what people come to your site to learn about.
Right.
So,
and you can go to these places sites, scroll to the bottom, and see if they have a link for affiliates. So even, for example, Best Buy has like a Best Buy partner program. You scroll to the bottom, you click, you see partner. You can try to sign up that way. Or
Amazon. The big one.
Amazon's a big one. Exactly. We talked about Amazon before. Associates.amazon.com. And as Eric mentioned, you can also make connections with companies and brands and people at like conferences, like we do. And sometimes they seek us out as well. If you get enough notice, they'll seek you out as well. So you have a number of different ways to connect with affiliate companies. And I know you asked about negotiating those contracts. They typically have set rates if they're large companies. But let's say if you tend to do a lot of business with them. So, for example, Pat Flynn is a super affiliate for
Bluehost.
Like Bluehost. They have a different rate that they'll pay Pat Flynn than they'll pay Eric or myself.
They've offered me higher rates, but I love you guys, Bluehost, but I don't love you that much. They just
offered me more money, and I was like, oh, really?
But their hosting, having been a web design and web development guy,
I know. But for starters, man.
For starters, it's good for the very beginning.
At the very beginning. Thank you. Can we not knock my main affiliate for this entire series, Eric?
SiteGround is my hosting affiliate.
Where are you at now?
SiteGround. Personalprofitability.com/SiteGround. Yeah, I just dropped an affiliate link in my friend's podcast.
Larry's been trying to make me go to his hosting for some time. He does his own.
Larry does his own hosting stuff. That's pretty cool. And
yeah.
So I mentioned though, in like kind of air quotes, that affiliates and click links are the easiest way to make money on a website. Easy as you have to take that with a grain of salt because those only work if you have tons of traffic.
Yes.
Like that is the key to success in both of those. They're just numbers games. I mean, there's a skill to it. Because like if you write crappy affiliate copy about the sites you're reviewing, no one's going to go through your links. Like if I write a bad review of a hosting company and then I put a link to them, no one's going to go through my post and sign up because I just said bad things about them.
Of course.
There's things you have to do to make it work and be genuine and believable. Like I actually did a video for SiteGround, not with them, but I was just trying to think, how can I get more signups? And I made a how to set up your hosting account video where I showed in under 5 minutes using their setup how to do it. I just did a screen capture and set up a website in 5 minutes and narrated it. So there's lots of cool things you can do. But if no one goes to that post, I will never get any signups. So that's part of why I was like, well, Google doesn't love me, but I found something that worked for me. So even though Google didn't work for me, I was looking at the QuickBooks, I was looking at my accounting, and I saw, well, I'm making way more money doing freelancing than I am from my own website. So obviously I need to put my focus into freelancing. And
Right.
I think was so important about that lesson to me and to other people trying to build businesses on the side is the thing that works isn't always the thing you wanted to work.
I agree.
I thought I was going to be Pat Flynn, and here I am, Eric Rosenberg, just as good looking, if not better looking. Maybe a smaller,
taller.
and
Sure.
taller. He's got that like dark skin though, and I'm too pale.
We're working on your tan. You're in California now, so you'll be good.
When I got the stock tan line, that was when I knew I was a California blogger, and I made it.
You got a little bit more tanning to do. So now what you said I think is really important, because putting your energy into what works is super important, and not necessarily what you want to work if you are trying to be a money blogger and trying to make money blogging. The problem for me is that I just got burnt out writing. So I can definitely make more money writing. I have offers on the table right now to write for money, and I'm not doing it because I'm burnt out. If it's not the thing, even if it's making you more money, if it pains you to do it, don't do it.
That's something I noticed, like when I was freelance writing on the side versus freelance writing today. I have very different emotions and feelings about it. I'm getting all emotional. No.
Well, you have a family too to take care of, and it's a different level of responsibility.
Yeah, but so the big difference is when you feel about your side hustle, when it's a side hustle, it's excitement, it's enthusiasm, it's extra money. When it goes from something you like to do and want to do and becomes something you have to do, it becomes a job.
Yeah.
So when you side hustle to full time, you do have to remember at the other end, full time is awesome. And I love my lifestyle. I make way more money than I used to, working fewer hours, like all good things. But I have to be motivated, and I have to walk into this room and sit in this chair and type hours and hours every day to make my living. I get to do it instead of sitting at a computer in a gray cubicle under fluorescent lighting in an office with someone coughing and sneezing over the next cubicle partition, a day-old cake in the break room, and all those other office things.
I like that day-old cake, okay?
I like the fresh cake. Tell me, don't wait till the next day. Like, at least put it out at like 4:30 before we all leave. You know?
Well, that's when you have to make friends with like the custodial people or whatever, and who put the food out, because then they'll tell you right away. Because I always get the heads up. I get the little ping to my desk. Hey, just put out this. Ooh, okay, thank you. Bye.
With that office environment, a huge number of people can relate to that. Like millions of people do it every day, from all across the country, all around the world. So that I don't have to commute or deal with any of that is amazing and blows my mind.
And you have a young family, so you get to spend more time with your family, which I'm finding is being super important.
Yeah, it's much different than I would have thought. And you can't ever really you try to prepare to be a parent, but when that kid comes out, that's like a whole new world. Like everything your parents told you about, like you won't get how much you can love something until you have your own.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you don't understand, you're not a parent. You'll get it when you have kids. A lot of that's true. They were telling the truth. You get it when you have kids. And now I have two, like that I can just like get up and walk out and hug my daughter at 2:00 on a Thursday because I just finished a project and I want to give my daughter a hug. Like that's worth more than any amount of money. But you also, like, I want to caution people, like this is an amazing, wonderful thing. But like you also have to remember, like you probably get health insurance subsidized from your employer.
Yep.
Yeah, I make more now, but I used to get health insurance that cost me, a couple $100 a month for my family, and the company paid the rest. Now I pay $1,400 a month for my health insurance because it's all on me. And high five Obama, I love you, thank you, Obamacare. I couldn't have this job without that, but it doesn't make it cheap. It makes it an option. So to me, that helped me get out the door of corporate America. But there's expenses that you'll have after you leave corporate America you didn't before if you do that. And remember, it's that job. You have to do it. But if you can get half things, it's wonderful.
You're making on average $11,000 a month. But it's not all office cake and coffee. There's got to be some downside to it. So
no one brings me coffee or cake. I have to make my own coffee.
What? You've got to train the babies to bring you some coffee and cake.
I don't know if I want my 2-year-old playing with the coffee maker.
Not yet. So talk a little bit about the pitfalls of going full time, because there's a downside to everything, not just the healthcare, which for me is a major thing, which is why I'm not full time, because I'm the one who carries our healthcare and also the 401k, to be honest with you, because I'm gonna need to retire at some point.
You gotta make more on your when your side hustle becomes your full-time hustle. Just make more than your employer contribution.
A lot more. So talk about the pitfalls for a second, if you will, or any negative side of going from blog to full-time as your business.
Yeah. So I already mentioned the parts about it goes from being just kind of fun to something you have to do. That doesn't make it not fun anymore. It just makes it a different relationship with the way you have that fun there. I think the biggest thing for me personally, which everyone has a different experience with this, I have long been what you might call an extrovert, if you couldn't tell on this recording.
Slightly.
And I sit in an office by myself all day now. It's a weird thing. And I realize, like, when it's day 3 and I haven't left the house, and I don't have that human interaction anymore because I'm sitting on the computer working. Like, I love this kind of stuff, partially just because of the social interaction of interviews. You know, when you sit at home by yourself all day alone, not that I'm alone, you know, I have little kids and my wife out there, but really your social everything changes when you stop going to work at an office. I think that's probably true for anyone who works from home full time, even if you have an employer. But when you don't have the employer, like I'm a network and a team of one, and I have some assistants, but that isolation is a factor. I try to overcome it partially by a couple of weeks ago, I started going to the gym. I'm trying to take care of myself a little bit.
Are you going to be buff when I see you next time?
Probably not, but I can try. Not going to lie. Like PT got ripped. Like, he's the guy who runs FinCon.
He did, but he's got all that Texas meat, and you don't really eat a lot of meat.
He went from teddy bear to like could lift your car.
Nah.
A lot of bloggers and podcasters I know have gotten ripped over the last couple of years. We'll see what I do. Probably won't get ripped, but like going to the gym, I think, is a good way to like be with people. Even though they're like sweaty, at least they're people. I've joined the Chamber of Commerce here locally, which is a great way to network with other business owners, which I think could also be a benefit looking back, even if I joined when it was a side hustle. Because one cool thing, like, everyone's heard the saying, you know, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So think about the people you spend the most time with. If you join a Chamber of Commerce and someone from that community becomes one of those people, or for me, it was FinCon and Yakezi with like people like Sandy and our other friends there. Building those connections, however you can connect to other business people, is a good thing. Like, it could be going to co-working spaces once a week in an evening, just to like be around other people who are excited about startups, if that's what you're into. Or, you know, there's whatever you're into, there is something out there for that. I guess I've turned this from downsides to advice. But like, go connect with your community and engage with it, because I wouldn't know any of this stuff that has helped me succeed in this business if I hadn't gone to FinCon and been in that community. And obviously most people don't want to be finance bloggers. Like, not that Sandy and I are crazy for doing it. We have a few friends.
We are so cool.
All the cool kids are finance bloggers.
That's right.
You know, think about your life experiences. There is something you know more about than anybody else, probably. And if you think really hard, there's probably 3, 4, 5 things that you know way more than the average person. And one of those things probably gets you really excited. And if you can find where those match, the thing that gets you excited and the thing you know more about than other people, that other people care about, that's a note too. That's where you should try to find your best success. Because if you, in the writing world, especially, or content creation world, video, whatever if you want to do online things, that's not just selling a product, you're always essentially selling yourself. But it's easier to sell yourself when you're talking about something you're excited about and you love. Like right now, I'm talking about money. Like, I'm excited about it.
And who doesn't love money?
I know.
So I've got a wrench for you, Eric. I've got a wrench to throw it out for you. Now, Eric doesn't know I'm going to do this to him, so let's all watch as Eric flounders, okay?
This is so ratchet. Am I using it right?
I taught FinCon the word ratchet, by the way. So, All right, so here we go. I've got a challenge for you, Eric. Something's come up. The wife is suddenly pregnant. Ta-da! Yeah, you got a 2-month-old, but she's not pregnant again. And you've got to ratchet up and you've got to get to $25,000 a month. What are you going to do?
Right, twice as much. No. I find in my business specifically, I can get paid a lot more on projects than recurring business per effort. So if I want to do this for a short period of time, I would call and email. Yes, I would pick up a phone and call. People still do that, apparently.
What is that? I only do the Facebook on my phone.
I thought that this thing was just like a little computer in my pocket. Oh, there's your picture. You're right there. I get a pop-up every time you post in Hustle Crew because I love the Hustle Crew. I don't do that for every group. Yours is one that I do.
Thank you.
Hustle Crew is awesome. Like, listen to Sandy. She knows what she's talking about. Yeah, so short term, 25 grand in a month. I would call in every possible connection. There's some platforms I do better than others, just connecting with different editors. I'd call all those editors and email them like, hey, any of your clients need anything? I would go in the FinCon Facebook group, be like, I'm for hire. I would go everywhere. I would go into a mountaintop and say, I'm for hire. Let people know, because if they don't know that they can hire you, then they won't.
Absolutely. That's actually really, it seems so intuitive, but it's a really good tip. I can say once I put my hire me button on my page, people click the button that exists that didn't exist before. People want to hire me for stuff. So do that, by the way. If you're building your website and you want to be hired for something, or you want people to pay you to do something, make sure you put a page on your website that will take people there, because they won't know that you're open for business if you don't have it there.
And if you go to ericrosenberg.com or personalprofitability.com, on the homepage, I believe on both, there's a way to find me, to hire me. So and I put that on my contact page because I'm like, oh, people might go there anyway. As long as they're going there, they should know they can give me money. Anything you take it, I will take. I mean, cash is tough these days. I'll figure it out. I can take Stripe, online payments, PayPal, whatever. I make it
Bitcoin.
easy.
Are you Bitcoining too?
I'll take Bitcoin. I have a Bitcoin wallet. I've got take Ethereum, Ripple. I actually don't have Ripple, yeah. So that'd be the short term. I think I could hustle it out if I had to get by in a pinch. Long term, who says I'm not already trying to figure out how to make 20?
Well, that was going to be my next question. Like, what's your long term? Do you have a number in your head that's long term for you that you want to hit? Let's say we're not doing $125,000 a month.
Why
but not? I'm just saying, realistic for Eric Rosenberg, father of 2 with 2 dogs, wife, a house in California. Right now, in your 5-year, what's your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year?
I was actually thinking about. I made a 5-year. So at the end of last year, my goal last year was $10,000 a month in revenue, and at the end of the year, I was like, what's going to be my goal next year? So that's this year. And I started really thinking about it. I was like, well, I don't want to set a revenue goal again. I was thinking about maybe $10,000 a month profit goal could be cool, because that's like setting the bar up a little bit, but not too crazy. But then I started thinking, I was actually reading something by Noah Kagan, who his site is sumo.com. Sumo means AppSumo. He's kind of divisive.
Yes.
He's one of those love him or hate him guys, and I know people on both sides of that.
I actually like him because he's so abrasive. I kind of like him.
I like him too. Right? He's like, actually at FinCon, he was talking about something with his Jewish mother, and at the end of it, I went up to him and I said, I too have an overbearing Jewish mother, and we were instant friends. He's a great guy. Speaking of people who make bank and a lot of money, that's actually told him I wanted him to be one of my 5 closest friends. I told him that at FinCon after his talk.
Oh, at FinCon, I told him, you know how he gave out the $50? I was like, yeah, you're lending me this $50, Noah, because I'm coming back to you with this $50 really soon. Okay. He was like, okay.
Did you? You should
say
$50 to see what he says.
I didn't send him back the 50 yet, but I sure as hell should, because part of what I invested in on AppSumo, I bought a couple of apps that has helped me to automate part of my business. So it actually helped me to build another revenue stream. So I should send him back his $50. Like, hey, Noah, your $50, I've used it on your site.
That'll get you more
And
noticed than most people. And he's someone good to be noticed by.
yeah.
There was a reason I brought him
But
up.
sorry, tell your story.
I'm like we like sidebarred so much I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, Eric and I was talking. We were talking about your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year numbers.
Yes. So he said in an email towards the end of the year, when he was doing his goals, you should set a goal that scares you.
Yes.
And I started really thinking about it. I'm like, what would it take for me to have made $1 million at the end of like 3 years from now? So that gives me some wiggle room to not make as much now, but then I have to like up that at some point. So I'm working on a few different projects that are more software as a service focused instead of blogging. Actually, it was my.
That's right. I forgot to mention that you also built an app, Eric.
I have several. I'm working on a couple. So my wife's.
I told you this is why we get along, because you're so Jamaican. I swear to you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I've always got hustles going, right? So my wife's uncle is a former CEO of a big Fortune 500 retail store you all know, an office supply store. So you guys do. I mean, that limits it to like 3 people in the world. I'll just tell you who it is. His name's Dave. It's not a secret. His name's Dave Fuente. He was the CEO of Office Depot for years. He built it from like tiny little company to giant company. And I asked him one day before I quit my job, I said, what is like your biggest secret to success in your life that has taken you to a point that when he gets to fly in private jets? I'm like, well, how do I do that with a nicer term? How do I do what you do and get that?
P.S. You also have your pilot's license and you're flying now. Go ahead. Continue.
I haven't flown in a while, but I do have my pilot's license, so I can. I'm kind of like James Bond like that, I guess. So I want to see, the real trick isn't to fly myself. It's when I have a pilot to fly me in my jet. That's
of course, while you sip champagne in the back.
Yeah, like a G6. Like, you don't want me. I was in a rap group. That was one of my early hustles.
Stop.
With chutzpah, HW Chet. Or like NWA, but more Jewish.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I should have like I found the old CDs in a drawer the other day. I should send you one soon.
You absolutely should, because I totally would put that in my car.
That's I have like 5 songs. My debut single is "Sippin' Chevitz," which is
not
Chevitz. Yeah, sipping the Chevitz. That's what I call it.
Okay, we're having too much fun with ourselves, inside joking each other. Guys, if you have questions, drop them in the link in the sidebar before we wrap up, so I can get through any questions that you have. But tell us, what's your crazy goal? Is this 1 million?
Yeah. Right? So Uncle Dave, wife's Uncle Dave. I wish I could call him Uncle Dave. Maybe I can. I'll ask him. He'll probably hit me with something if I call him Uncle. He's my kid's uncle though. So he told me the first thing was, you should be making something or selling something, because those are the 2 people who really end up rising to the top. Everybody else is just in the middle pushing paper and things around.
So ABS, always be selling, right?
Be a maker or a seller. And now as a freelancer, I do both. So I said, all right, Uncle Dave, what's next the next year at Thanksgiving? And he said, well, does it scale? So I was like, well, this doesn't really scale, because I'm still trading hours for dollars as a freelancer, providing a service. So I'm trying to work on things that do scale. And I'm using this position I'm in doing well, working fewer hours online to free up more time to work on those scalable projects. Like at Google, they used to do this thing called 20% time, where all their employees got to spend 20% of their time working on like any kind of software engineering project they wanted to that would help Google. So I kind of do that for my own business now. Is the other time I've freed up is now working on apps, things like that I could scale. So we'll see. I haven't had my $1 million success there yet, but yet is the key word. So the first app I built just to learn how to build apps is called Kosher Fish. I love it. .co, and it's an iPhone and Android app stores. So how it works is you type in a fish and it tells you if it's kosher or not. And I came up with the idea for this because I was at a sushi restaurant and I didn't know if a fish was kosher. And I Googled it and the results were horrible. And I couldn't figure it out really. So is that your kid or my kid?
It's my kid. I was thinking the same thing. It's like, is that Eric's baby or my baby? That one's mine.
You know, you're good company when you're asking which kid it is over the internet.
On 2 different coasts.
Yes. Like literally coast to coast. So I'm working on that one. I'm working on one as a side hustle where I'm paying developers in India to build the app for me. It's called Community Sharer at communitysharer.com. And the idea there is it's going to be for communities like Facebook or like FinCon or podcast movement, like conference communities, or even one like Sandy's community. Let's say a bunch of you hustlers have built cool websites and blogs, and Sandy wants to share every post from your blogs. Community Sharer will let her do that. And I'm working on new features to let her say, well, let this one through, but not this one. So she could, highlight the best stuff in her community, not just all of it. So I'm working on that. I'm working on one called Mastermind Hunt. That's at mastermindhunt.com with a co-founder I met at FinCon, and he's the coder, and I'm kind of like the finance accounting guy. So we're each partners in this, so no one's getting paid to build it, but we're each sharing the costs. That's a fun one. So that's going to be to find masterminds, which are like little groups of people who just want to help each other succeed in business. I've been in one for 7 years, and I would not be where I am today without them. I'm in one now that we're all online entrepreneur dads, which is
that's very specific.
So we're all doing things to make money, but we all have that connection of being dad. Well, we're all male, so there's some camaraderie around that, I think. And being dads, we all have kids of different ages. We can relate to each other. And when I'm having a 2-year-old driving me crazy problem, I pull up Slack and I'm like, guys, what do I do? And then when the guy who has the oldest kids is like, my daughter just crashed the car, we're all like, don't know how to help you.
Oops, not there yet. So I want everybody to notice just how many businesses and ventures Eric has. I keep joking.
I can keep going.
Oh, I'm sure that you have a ton more. I keep joking that Eric and I connect because he's so Jamaican. But as you notice, your one blog can be a springboard to so many other things that you can do, that you're not really relegated to just being, Joe Schmo blogger, and I'm just a blogger who writes stuff on my blog. Just realize how many different things that Eric has just gone through in the last couple of minutes that he's doing, that is all, part of his various businesses.
And one of them, I'll just shout out real quick to go through the list. Denver Flash Mob, I just shut down. Actually, that one, I just made a video yesterday commemorating the 7 years I ran Denver Flash Mob. So you can check that out on YouTube or whatever. I have one called Money Mola. That is, I'm trying to do like a traditional financial technology startup where I'm the CEO. I have a developer for that in Michigan and a chief marketing officer who's a college friend. He's in Chicago. And it's a peer-to-peer lending platform for family and friends. Don't try to start a financial company. I'm just going to tell everyone out there.
What was that one? Money what?
Money Mola, M-O-L-A. It's a kind of fish.
You know what? I think I saw this from you the other day.
Because no one knows what it is. Not M-O-L-A-H, just M-O-L-A.
My spelling, Mola. This is why I'm not a blogger.
If you've never seen a Mola fish, Google it. They are hilarious. Like, check out there's a video. I think there's only 3 aquariums in the world that have them. And I saw one in at the Lisbon, Portugal aquarium. I was like, what a cool, weird looking dinosaur fish.
And it's inspired a whole thing.
Because it rhymed with money, kind of. They both start with M.
I hear you.
Money Monkey was taken.
So as we've gone through like your 50 different ventures, what is the one piece of advice that you think that you can give the hustle crew who are starting out their blogs, where they want to make money, that you think that you wish you knew when you started?
Always act professionally. Get that .com. Present yourself the way you want people to see you. If you want them to take you seriously, treat yourself and your businesses seriously, and keep them financially separate from your personal finances. So do that all from the beginning, which, as I mentioned, I was at .blogspot.com in the beginning, so I did not do that right. And then, as we talked about, find the thing that's working in your business and do it again and again and again, even if it's not the thing you expected to be working. Embrace success and don't be afraid to drop failures. Like, I just closed Denver Flash Mob after 7 years. Don't think that didn't hurt a little bit, closing down a business that I loved and built and put my sweat and tears.
You're not in Denver anymore, sir.
I know, so it was time.
Yeah, exactly.
But all these different businesses, put your heart and soul into it, do something you love, but make sure you focus on what's working.
And that's actually really good advice. Don't be afraid to drop what's not working and replicate what's working. The great thing about having an internet business is that the barrier to entry is very low. I've already shown you that, yeah, it costs a couple of bucks to start a site. And you can, if something is not working, you can drop it and move on and not lose a whole bunch of money. When I had a brick and mortar store, believe me, it costs so much money to shut down. I learned to never run a business like that ever, ever, ever again. So any last questions that you guys have for Eric before we go? Eric and I can talk forever and ever and ever, but my husband just texted me like, wasn't your thing supposed to end like 9 minutes ago? Can you get the baby?
I get that every day. One funny thing working at home, like my wife is my biggest supporter and biggest fan, and I could not do what I do without her. Absolutely. But every day at 5:02, she shows up at my office door, 5:04, like, hey, ready to help out with the kids? She has them both all day. I get it. That is way harder than anything I do. Moms, like, if you really have the kids all day like that, you should be paid way more than your husbands who go sit in an office.
Yeah, he gave me this hour, and 1 hour, and he's like, "You're 9 minutes overdue."
I did a live one this morning for a show called Snappy Tech out of the UK. Although the host was in Georgia, the country, not Georgia, which is like Russia almost. And I was like, oh yeah, it'll be like a half hour or an hour. I didn't really know. I'd like reviewed it. We went like 2 hours, and he's like, we really have to stop now. We've gone over, but we're having so much fun talking.
Yes. And you and I can talk forever. So Art Centron says, do you cooperate with people based on your specialization, finance? So yeah, I think we have a lot of connections within the your area of specialization. So I think that's really important that you make connections in your industry, because as Eric mentioned, it can be very lonely, and it's actually easier when you have a network that you talk about some of the same things, you can commiserate, and you can kind of understand what's going on. You've got sources that you can use to talk. People can come on your podcast. They can come on your YouTube to talk to your group. So I think it's really important that you do. And I think the mistakes that people make is looking at somebody else who is in the same area as you as competition. Because Eric can definitely be my competition.
You're my collaboration.
Yes, we don't look at it that way. We definitely look at each other as collaborators because there's so much space for everybody. There's enough business out there for everybody, and we each bring a unique perspective to what it is that we talk about. Even though Eric and I can chit chat and gab and have good, similar perspectives on a lot of things, we bring a different voice to the same topic.
Yeah, and what's cool about the internet, it's not like, let's say you need a pair of running shoes. You're only going to go buy one pair. It's like going to be Nike or Reebok or New Balance or whoever. Is Reebok even still a thing? I don't know. RBK, whatever they call themselves now. But for like personal finance education, you can be a fan of both Sandy and me and probably get more benefit from both than either alone. I'd say that's true with any financial blog. 2 is better than 1 because you can take those different viewpoints and start to meld them together and create your own views and outlooks. So yeah, I look at that as a positive. It's just like to quickly say, last year I went to, I think, 5 different conferences that were all focused on something totally different. I went to FinCon about money. I went to Podcast Movement about podcasting. I went to Con Expo as a guest with my brother-in-law. That's construction and farming equipment. It was a way different crowd than hangs out at FinCon. Like we were drinking Coors Light at like 9 a.m. But
breakfast beer.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience to see and meet people who run like Caterpillar and John Deere. I went to TBEX. I mentioned travel blogging. So there's, I'm sure I missed one. I went to one up in New York, actually in your neck of the woods. I went to Lend It. That's financial technology and lending. So each of these conferences, that vibe's a little different. The atmosphere is different. I'd say FinCon and Podcast Movement and TBEX are more similar than the other two. The other two are more like trade shows. and industry conferences, I'd say. But those in the industry conference ones, like the blogger conferences, so those three were relevant to me, but there are so many of these conferences that
There
whatever
are.
you're into, there's probably one. And like, I mean, if you're a woman, there's Blog Her. It's like right there.
Yeah,
You have a
which is
choice.
huge.
If you're anybody, there's Social Media Marketing World. I think that's what they call it now. The one in San Diego. There's all these conferences. There's a lot that I don't know about because they're not the thing I do.
Right.
What's cool is that's might be a thing you do. So,
Beauty blogger, you got Beauty Con, so much, there's a lot of stuff. So Art Sanchez says, you didn't talk about the impact of your podcast. Eric has two. He did talk about his podcast, but that's another stream.
I don't really make a bunch of money from those. I think the biggest thing is my podcast opened me up to a new audience for my freelancing. It's all kind of, to me, everything's funneling to there.
Right.
So someone might find me through the podcast who doesn't read blogs. I think it's likely that a blog editor, someone who would need a blogger, reads blogs, but you never know. So there are people who find me who will only want to listen and won't want to read. So it's just another way to connect to another part of the community. That's why I'm actually trying to do more video as well.
Yeah, I will say, as a person who has been a frequent guest on podcasts, that I've had people hear me on a podcast and seek me out for work from hearing me on a podcast as well. So it could work from you running your podcast and from you being just a really awesome guest.
You have to think about, before you go on as a guest or start a podcast, what is your end goal of that podcast? It should be the same when you start a website. Like if you show up to, the worst financial blogger website out there, you will get there and it will be ugly and confusing and you won't know what to do. You'll just see a wall of text and just like words, and you'll just like, and you'll leave. But if you show up to like, I'll talk about it right now. I'm going to do a teardown on your website on your show.
Shut the front door.
Yes,
you mean my site that I haven't really updated in such a little bit of a time?
But if you open it, even without being updated, the first thing you see is two big buttons: let me help you or do it yourself. Both are ways to funnel you into being a customer or a client or engaged in that community. So what Sandy did right there, that's not an accident. Like, she didn't accidentally put a button at the top of her site to become a coaching client. And if you go to my website, the number one thing you're going to see on both my personal and business is a way into my email list. And I'll give you something free for it. I'll give you a book, maybe a series of videos for a week. Those are the two big things I'm giving away. But I'm not making money directly from either of those things, but maybe someone will find those and get to email number 4 in this series and be like, this Eric's great, I got to hire him. Now that could happen, right?
They should hire you from email number 1.
I mean, they really should. You should tell them that. I'm going to put a note in my first email. Guys, just so you know, Sandy says you should hire me after reading this.
Yes, they should. So as we wrap up, where can everybody find you? You have so many things going on, so many businesses. Where can they find you if they want to connect?
Yeah, so the best place, if you want to just talk to me about things, ask questions, on Twitter, I'm Eric Profits. I'm there way too much because I used to play too many games on my phone and I deleted them all. So now I'm on Twitter too much instead, which I guess is a little better maybe. So you can go to Personal Profitability. That's the blog and podcast are there. EricRosenberg.com for just to learn more about my businesses and what I do. And my new podcast with Whitney, I mentioned, Oh No, We Didn't. If you like to laugh and want to learn a little bit, that's a good place to go. You won't learn quite as much, but you'll be entertained.
I love it. I just love the name. Oh No, We Didn't. All right. Thank you for joining me, Eric. The baby stopped crying. I think that's why he was like, when are you getting off?
Night time.
Yeah. He just woke up from a nap. He's not going to want to go to sleep anytime soon. Art Sanchez says, thank you for helping the other time.
Yeah, we chatted before.
Good. I'm glad you guys connected.
You're very welcome, my friend.
Thank
and anybody, reach out to me, just like he did. Just shoot me notes on Twitter, Facebook me, check out whatever I'm working. I'm happy to help you. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, he's really easy to connect with. He has a group called the Personal Profitability. Is it Mastermind?
Yes.
Yeah. Personal Profitability Mastermind as well, where he shares things. A lot of things are side hustle and freelancer related as well. So if you're interested in that, you definitely can join Eric's group. Eric is also in the Hustle Crew, so you can tag him if there's something specific to what we discussed here. And he answers questions just like everybody else has joined us for these series. So we talked about going from blog to business. The next and last in our series will be next week. You'll join me with Taylor Gordon. Taylor is actually a freelancer and blogger, and she's going to tell you how to get traffic, because if you build it, they don't come on their own necessarily. And like
dreams.
yeah, like Eric says, Google doesn't like him. So you've got to do some work to drive people to your blog. So come back next week where we talk to Taylor Kathleen about using Pinterest and other strategies for getting traffic to your blog. On my blog this week, we'll be talking a little bit about monetization. So look for an article that I'll share in the group with you guys on monetizing. You're not there yet if you're just building your blog, but you may want to save it for later and come back in this video as well to talk about some monetization that you can put in place for your blog if your goal is to have a money-making blog.
Now, or you could read that post on monetization now, go back and build your blog and like Tarantino
all around it
and figure out how to get back to monetization.
Yes. I wish, you know what, knowing what I know now, when I started my blog back in 2009, oh my gosh, I probably would have been one of those $1 million blogs, million plus blogs that were sold, right? Don't you wish?
The trick is back then it was easier to get noticed. Google worked differently.
It was
a whole new world than it was 10 years ago.
Very, very much a different landscape, but that's okay though, because we're still here.
And we're hustling every day.
That's right. Thank you, Eric. And thank you, everybody else who joined us as well. I'm really glad that you guys stuck around. And I will see you guys next week. I will see you, Eric, at FameCon.
I'll see you hopefully sooner than that.
Oh, are you coming to New York?
I don't know, but I should. Are you coming to California?
Are you kidding? I've got a kid that I've got to go coast to coast. There's no way.
When Sophie was 6 months old, I took her to London and Paris.
Actually, you know what? I might actually go to Denver, but you're not in Denver anymore.
Maybe I'll go. I have a free place to stay.
That's right. You should meet. We should meet in Denver. Hustle Cool. I'll see you guys.
I'll meet up with you guys too. Send me notes.
Yeah,
if you're in Southern California, we'll get a coffee, a beer, whatever. I'm down.
We need a Hustle Crew meet up. See you, Hustle Crew. Have a great night and come back for my next video. Bye.